Before I finish fitting the last two vertical carriages, I thought I'd just like to show you a technique I call plastic welding. If you ever do any casting and you may do some wax molds, there's various tools for melting the wax. I got myself one of these Max wax pens, and it's got a very fine tip on the top, a bit like a light filament, and it doesn't take long before she glows red. And when you're doing the wax, you just touch it and you put in the details, eyeballs and feathers and all that sort of stuff. So I thought I'd just try it with those nuts I mentioned. You could put your hot screw in or your soldering iron, that sort of thing. But I thought I would just try with the example of the filament they send with the kit. So what I done was, if you do any welding or any soldering, that sort of thing, you heat your element or the item you're melting, and then you just push your electrode or your filler rod into it, or you solder it, just like that. So what I did was I just held the piece of plastic to where I wanted it to be melted to, switched on the Max pen, and keep in mind, plastic has fumes, some of it's extremely toxic and will kill you. So use the right apparatus, the right safety gear and all that. Have a fan blowing, an exhaust fan, a mask, all that sort of stuff. So all I did was I just touched the filament where I want it to melt, turned on the pen. It then started to melt the end of the plastic, and as the plastic melted, the filament, I just pushed it in to the corner. So if you had a hole, just say I wanted to fill that groove up, I would just do the same thing. Lay the plastic there, heat the Max pen up and push, and as the soft plastic pushes in, you then get to the warm plastic, and then there's the cold plastic, and you can just move your pen like that to cut it off. Otherwise, if you try to pull it, it then strings, and you can then just cut it off like that while the plastic is still a blob. Well, what I did was just get the tweezers, any bit of metal, and just pushed it down and formed it in the spot I wanted. So if I had filled up that hole and it was still a bit lumpy, I then just have to touch it with the Max pen, get it melted, then just push it in, and it would then be flat. So if you have, say, a layer that's split, and you can clamp it back together, so say with a G-clamp, for example, you then could just get your pen and weld it together. If you burn too big a hole, or you put a hole in the wrong position, you can then just weld with it like that. I do recommend these. I bought one, and after 2 months or so, it stopped working. So I contacted the American eBay seller, and he says, no worries, we'll send you another one. So they sent me a brand new one in 3 months, and it works fantastic. Terrific service, a terrific tool. But again, remember the fumes, and remember that this is very hot. So plastic welding, give it a try. I highly recommend it.